Calexico El Mirador album review. Let's chat about it. Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning here tonight to chat about this latest from Calexico, Tucson, Arizona, legends of Tex-Mex, alternative country, folk, and more. And in their early days was a real under the radar favorite of mine, like a real cult favorite of mine. I mean, I've never been that crazy about their debut, Spoke. However, shortly after, they became one of the more consistent bands in indie at the time. 1998's The Blacklight, as well as the practically post-rock inspired Hot Rail, was just the perfect blend of some badass Tex-Mex licks, some incredibly visual storytelling, expert musicianship, and more. Feast of Wire is fantastic too. There are so many great tracks on there. But after that, for a while, it's been a little rocky with me in Calexico. I've never been a big Garden Ruin guy. I think it's just a little too stripped down for my liking. But I did enjoy the very rustic and majestic Carried to Dust. And by the time Algiers came out, I thought I had lost track of this band completely. I thought that their personality, which was a real huge factor for me enjoying their early work, had dwindled to nothing. And while their music still sounded nice on paper, a lot of what brought me to them in the first place seemed to be gone. I did, however, enjoy the guest-filled Edge of the Sun. I thought it was a nice treat and an interesting album choice. But the last time we heard from them on the thread that keeps us, I thought they were being really safe and really bland, sadly. It's been a little all over the place with me in Calexico lately. However, I wasn't going to cover this, but leading up to this album, I thought they were dropping some really good, very decent singles, and honestly, a lot of this album is pretty decent. As a matter of fact, a good chunk of this album is them taking a step back, taking things back to basics, and really remembering what they did so great in the first place. This album starts off with its title track, El Mirador, and it's a great start. I love the bluesy riff, this very gritty instrumental. I love the very smoky, very bluesy instrumental, as well as the delivery, which is just as equally bluesy and even a little gritty. It really takes me back. Now, one thing that I've always loved about Calexico over the years is their storytelling, which seems to have really come back in full form on this album. It is a wonderful start that really gets me in the mood to listen to more of it. Harness the Wind is really nice too. It's a very upbeat and breezy folk track. I love the vocal harmonies that we get here. They are freaking gorgeous. It is the perfect track for the warm weather. Then You Might See is really great too. The drama here, the excitement, the cinematic edge to this track, these are things that I haven't said about the band in a long time. I mean, I actually get the chills listening to this. It's performed so well. I also love how heavy this track gets. I mean, it's not heavy by music standards, but as far as subject matter goes, some of the lyrics that we get here, it's pretty intense. Not only that, but the very lively instrumental is 100% welcomed. El Paso is great as well. It's another very dreary, very moody tune with a very gritty underbelly. I love the horns that they bring in here. The very intense vocal performances is great too. It's very real. It's very intense in their own Calexico way, and that's something that I really haven't been able to say in a really long time. It's something that brought me to their music to begin with. But consistency is still a big problem. Cumbia Peninsula, I'm sorry, I'm not into it. I'm not into it. Honestly, both cumbia tracks on here, I'm not into. This track is very stiff. It's not as graceful as the rest of this album. It sounds like, I don't know, Calexico are trying a little too hard. Even the vocals don't warm my heart too much. There are just so many better examples of their sound here. I have a lot of the same feelings on Cumbia de Polvo as well. It's just not as fluid. It feels like Calexico is really reaching. And the production here is not up to snuff either. The El Burro song, also not crazy about it. This doesn't sound like it really belongs here. As a matter of fact, it's pretty goofy compared to a lot of the material here. Something about this track just doesn't sit well with me. And while not perfect, there is a legitimacy to this album that I haven't heard from Calexico in quite some time. Liberada is fantastic. I love this one. It just kind of slithers along. It shows the underbelly of their world once again. It's sort of bluesy. I love the group vocals here too. That's a great touch. It brings in a lot of drama. It's just so obvious. I can turn this on, take it all in, and call it a day. Turquoise, though, it's a tough one. On one hand, as an instrumental, it's actually pretty good. It has the mystery factor. There are some jazzy elements. All the keys are here. But for me, though, I feel like Calexico don't push it far enough. Constellation, though, might be the best deep cut here. This is gorgeous. Lyrically, this is absolutely chillingly beautiful. It's gorgeous all around, even instrumentally. And Rancho Azul is a real late album left turn. This is easily the most raucous and upbeat track here. But it's actually a lot of fun, and it's something that I didn't expect to hear. And as usual, it's a very visually intense track. My hat is off to it. But then we get Caldera as a finale, and it's really disappointing. I mean, instrumental-wise, this is certainly up my alley. But lyrically, vocally, and specifically production-wise, this track falls flat hard. I mean, I feel like they certainly tried here, but they didn't stick the landing, not at all. Most of this album is pretty nice, though. It's probably their most consistent and true-to-form album that they've put out in this style in a long time, and there's a lot of this album that I want to come back to. Consistency, though, is a tough thing on this album, because when this album gets rough, it gets real rough real fast. I mean, I like it though. It's certainly not bad. It's probably the most enjoyable thing I've heard from the band in quite some time, honestly. I'm feeling a light 7 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. Until next time, have a great day, guys.